This is the Architect Exam Podcast with architect Michael Rasica, the official podcast of the Young Architect Academy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Architect Exam Podcast. I'm Michael Rasica. So lately, I've had several conversations with people who are really mad about how expensive it costs to study for the ARE and get their architecture license. They're mad about the price of exams and how NCARB constantly raises their fees. They're mad about the cost of the ARE study materials, or they're mad that their firm just won't pay for the entire process. But you want to know something crazy? What if I told you that 18 months after getting your architecture license, you double your income? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. And I see it all the time, and it's not unusual. Yet, I still hear every excuse about why people can't get their architecture licenses. My firm won't pay for it. I don't have enough experience. I don't have the time. My projects are too busy. The economy's bad, or I need to wait until conditions are better. But here's what I've learned after hearing thousands of these stories. It's that most of them aren't even really about experience or resources. They're about not being ready to make the changes in your life. And I know this because I made the same excuses for years.
You're listening to the Architect Exam Podcast, your guide to passing the ARE.
So a year after I graduated architecture school, I desperately wanted to create a better life for myself. I needed to make more money. I had to make more money. And getting my license seemed like a path forward. But then money became my biggest excuse. I had over $100,000 in student debt and I could barely make my loan payments. My small firm could barely afford to pay the AIA membership. The economy was terrible and it seemed like every dollar mattered. I also had confidence issues from struggling in high school that followed me through architecture school. Did I really have what it takes to pass these tests? I didn't have much real-world experience and I convinced myself that I needed to work longer before I was ready. I had completely unrealistic expectations about what it would take to pass the architect exam. So when I started studying, I was always looking for the shortcuts. I was too cheap to make an investment in quality resources. I'd borrow outdated books from the AI chapter or wait 3 weeks when they didn't have what I needed. I'd study just enough to feel prepared, take the test, and then fail. And then I'd blame everyone else. The AIA for not having better resources, my firm for not supporting me, the economy for being bad, even my parents for not paying for my architecture school. But really, I was just afraid to fully invest in changing my life. The very thing I wanted most, more money, became the excuse that kept me from getting it. After failing several exams, I had a realization that changed everything. I wasn't just delaying my license. I was putting my entire life on hold. I started to see opportunities everywhere that required being a licensed architect, better jobs, side projects, the possibility of starting my own business. But instead of pursuing them, I told myself, I'll do that after I'm licensed. And the longer this process dragged on, the more life I was missing. And it wasn't just about career advancement. It was about taking control of my future, my earning potential, my professional identity. And that's when I realized the real cost wasn't the money I was trying to save on study materials. The real cost was time. Every month I delayed getting serious about this process was a month I couldn't get back. Time became my most valuable resource, not my money. But one of the things I always tell my ARE boot campers is, guys, getting your architecture license will be the most important project you'll ever work on in your entire career. It is a massive investment with your time, money, and energy, but it has an enormous return on that investment. But only if you're serious about being a registered architect. Passing ARE 5.0 is a 700 to 1,500 hour investment, and you're probably going to fail a few times, and that's normal according to NCARB's data. But every month you spend making excuses, waiting for perfect conditions, or trying to save a few dollars on materials is time you're losing forever. Within 18 months of getting my license, I doubled my salary from the opportunities it created. No other project will ever give you that kind of return on investment. Your excuses might be valid, your concerns might be real, but ask yourself this: can you afford to keep putting your life on hold? Stop waiting for your firm to pay for your exams. Stop waiting for more experience. Stop waiting for the perfect study materials to fall into your lap. Your time is more valuable than your excuses. The clock keeps ticking, whether you're making progress or making excuses. The question isn't whether you can afford to invest properly in this process. The question is, can you afford not to? Get serious about getting your architecture license. Respect it for what it is. It is the most career-changing project you're ever going to undertake. And give this investment the time, energy, and resources it deserves. Your future self will thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Architect Exam Podcast. Ready to take your studying to the next level? Visit our online ARE Architecture School website at academy.youngarchitect.com to learn more about how we can help you. See you next time.